All right, guys, now check this out. Check it out. Now, I remember in 1997 seeing an ad for a guy named Eminem in the Source magazine. Now, at this time, I bought the Source every month. It was the hip-hop Bible. I swore by it, and I regularly bought just about any album that the Source said was dope. Now, as soon as I heard him, I was hooked. I've never in my life heard that perspective, let alone with that type of lyrical genius. Well, today, we are at the St. Joseph Memorial Cemetery. Now, I originally researched Uncle Ronnie's grave, and that's someone, whether you're a fan or a stan, you know who Uncle Ronnie is. Eminem talked about him his whole career. And what happened was, as I researched, I realized that his entire mother's side of the family and his father and grandfather are here as well, along with others. And I located 9 family members from his mom all the way down. So we are going to go visit them. I'm fanning out. I am hyped. Are you ready to do this or what? So I'm about to show you a good portion of his immediate family in one video. So let's start here. Let's start with the man that inspired Eminem and made him start rapping. I'm sure you've heard the name before, as Eminem has shouted out and talked about Ronnie his whole entire career. You always heard about Uncle Ronnie. Now here we are at the grave of Ronald Dean, Uncle Ronnie Polkinghorne Jr., who sadly was only 19 when he died in 1991. Now buried with him, you see there's 3 names on his headstone, is Betty Crescent, who was the mother of Eminem's mom, Debbie, and the mother of Todd and Ronnie, who were Debbie's brothers and Eminem's uncles. And they're all 3 right here. This grave is his grandmother and uncles. Now, Todd was a mentor and somewhat of a father figure to Eminem early on. I remember seeing him on the documentaries, talking about Eminem was in his room playing with the Masters of the Universe and Castle Grayskull. He was Eminem's uncle and a close mentor to him. But Ronnie is the one who introduced Eminem to hip-hop. And he was only 2 months older than Eminem, but he was his uncle. I've seen stuff like that over time. It's kind of crazy, but that's how it was. Now, he was a best friend. He was an uncle. He was a brother. Ronnie ended up dying by suicide in 1991 in December, and he was only 19. It's a tragedy that deeply affected Eminem and caused him to quit speaking for days. He went completely mute, and he missed the funeral because of the pain of the loss. Now, Ronnie was the one who introduced Eminem to hip-hop at age 9 by playing him Reckless by Ice-T. I remember Eminem says that was the first hip-hop record he ever heard, was Reckless by Ice-T. And he later on tried to release some of Ronnie's music, but Ronnie's mother, Eminem's grandmother, who is buried right here, blocked it. And she wouldn't let Eminem release none of the music. Now, she just passed a month ago, and there's fresh dirt here. Now, Ronnie's reason for doing so and committing suicide had 2 major theories. Some people suggested it was due to a breakup with the female, but while others in the family had experienced recent threats. So I don't know, who really knows, but his death ended up causing severe trauma, causing Eminem to quit rapping for a while. Imagine that. Imagine if Proof wouldn't have came along and brought him back. Now, you can hear Eminem expressing his admiration for Ronnie in several songs like Cleaning Out My Closet and Stan and Long Live Ronnie. And they actually put a new headstone on this. It's looking really good, just like his mother's grave. So now we are going to head to the grave of none other than his mother, Debbie Nelson Mathers. Now, you've heard this name more than Ronnie's. Now, again, if you're a fan of Eminem, you know all about this lady right here. Debbie Nelson ended up passing on December 2nd, 2024, and she just got a new headstone on hers. And this is her grave right here, and she was 69. She is mostly known for her deeply tumultuous public feud with Eminem, which was very public and degrading on both ends. I remember watching it all thinking, man, he's doing this with his mother. You know what I mean? Publicly. Now, their relationship was defined by allegations of abuse and neglect, which you heard regularly in the music. They feuded publicly, and Eminem eventually ended up expressing regret for the bad relationship. Debbie was born in 1955, and she was the oldest of 5 children. Now, she grew up in Missouri, specifically St. Joseph, right here in this area. Her whole family's from here. in 1999, she sued her son for $10 million. You remember that? I remember watching that for defamation. The 2001 settlement resulted in her receiving only $25,000, and she had to pay over $23,000 going towards her legal fees and her lawyers. So she only made $2,000 off of that. Now, the public feud was insane. And you know what? What made me happy was they seemed to make peace, and my jaw dropped, okay? My jaw dropped the first time I heard Cleaning Out My Closet. But a smile came on my face when I finally heard his song, Headlights. And I was like, man, did you hear what he said? Eminem expressed remorse for his previous harsh public criticism of his mother. He was apologizing for the pain he caused and acknowledging the complexity of the relationship. Now, despite the apology and Headlights, reports suggested the two did not truly reconcile before her death, but they did make some kind of peace. Now, Eminem took care of her. He paid her mortgage and bills. He made sure his mother was straight. Now, I've been fanning out this whole video because I am a core Eminem fan, and this is so cool to me. You know what I mean? This video is by far one of my favorites. But this is the beautiful grave of Debbie Nelson Mathers, Now, Eminem and Nathan's mother, and as you can see, her sister Tanya's grave is here with her husband. Just like Ronnie's grave, this one has 3 family members in it, though Tanya is still alive. And as of recent reports, that's why there's no death date on hers. But, yeah, I like that Dream Chaser. This thing is beautiful right here. So now let's go to the final stop. And this grave right here, guys, has some lore to it. And I'm going to explain that. I mentioned it in the beginning. Now, I've already showed you 6 family members. Now, this is 7, 8, and 9. Now, here we go. The grave has Marshall Bruce Mathers Sr., which is Eminem's grandfather, and Ray Waverly Drowns, who died in 2002, who is his grandmother. But it doesn't have a death date on here for her for some reason, but she has deceased. Now, this is the mother and father of Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr., which is Eminem's father. You know, Eminem is the 3rd. Now, when you look at the Find a Grave, you'll see his father is listed as buried here. And I've read that he's in an unmarked grave. Now, with that said, when you go into the office and you distinguish the junior from senior, even though it isn't marked, they send you to this grave and say he's here. So the office of the cemetery is saying that he is here. So he just doesn't have a marker. So from what I'm gathering, Eminem's father is buried right here with his father and mother. It's crazy. And who are Eminem's grandparents on his father's side. Now, he just doesn't have a marker. All 3 graves visited today have 3 people in them. I just ran down Eminem's family tree of 9 people from his grandparents, mother, father, uncles on down. And they are all buried right here. And I felt like I struck gold when I found this out. I was like, oh man, why didn't I know that? And they're buried right here in St. Joseph Memorial Cemetery. And interestingly enough, I'm so hype, I'm choking myself up. They were really easy to find. And like I said, I wanted to show Ronnie because of how instrumental he was in Eminem's grooming and early fascination with hip-hop, and how much he is mentioned and ended up uncovering his whole family. It's so cool. But this is your boy, Mack Malone, the KC journalist, signing out.
He is the KC journalist.